Hair and scalp properties. Understanding hair and scalp properties is crucial for cosmetologists to provide the best possible services to clients. This presentation will cover the structure and chemical composition of hair, how to analyze hair and scalp characteristics, and the hair growth cycle. Why study hair and scalp properties? Maintain health and integrity. Analyzing the hair and scalp is a key step in providing services that maintain their health and integrity. Provide safer services. Understanding how hair structure is formed and how hairstyling and chemical services alter hair will lead to safer, smarter services. Recommend appropriate treatments. Identifying hair growth cycles and the differences between common and uncommon hair loss helps better recommend client hair loss treatments. Check-in. 1. Describe 3 ways studying hair and scalp properties benefits you as a cosmetologist. Answer. Answers may vary, but could include the following. Analyzing the hair and scalp is a key step in providing services that maintain their health and integrity. Understanding how hair structure is formed and how hairstyling and chemical services alter hair will lead to safer, smarter services. Identifying hair growth cycles and the differences between common and uncommon hair loss helps better recommend client hair loss treatments. Hair root structure. Hair follicle, tube-like structure in the skin or scalp that surrounds the hair root and anchors the hair in the skin. Hair bulb, located at the base of the follicle, bulb-shaped and contains living cells that will form the hair strand. Dermal papilla cone-shaped elevation at the base of the hair bulb contains blood vessels that supply nutrients for hair growth. More hair root structures. Erector pili muscle. An involuntary muscle in the dermis is attached to the hair follicle. When it contracts, the hair stands up, causing goosebumps. Sebaceous glands attached to the hair follicle produce sebum that lubricates the hair and skin. Check-in questions. 2. Name and describe the structures of the hair root. Answer. The main structures of the hair root are hair follicle, tube-like structure in the skin or scalp that surrounds the hair root and anchors the hair in the skin. Hair bulb, located at the base of the follicle, bulb-shaped and contains living cells that will form the hair strand. Dermal papilla, cone-shaped elevation at the base of the hair bulb. It contains the blood vessels that supply nutrients that allow the hair to grow. Erector pili muscle, involuntary muscle in the dermis, attached to the hair follicle. When it contracts, the hair stands up, causing goosebumps. Sebaceous glands, attached to the hair follicle, produce a substance called sebum that lubricates the hair and skin. 3. Which parts of the hair are living? Answer. The hair's living portion consists of the hair follicle, hair bulb, and dermal papilla. The hair shaft, hair strand, or hair fiber is the non-living portion of hair that extends beyond the skin or scalp. The hair shaft comprises the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Refer to Figure 7-2. The hair's outermost layer. Formed from cells that overlap, similar to shingles on a roof. Cuticle protects the cortex. In healthy hair, the cuticle lies flat, but during chemical services, it will soften and swell, allowing the chemicals to penetrate the cortex. Cortex, the fibrous protein layer of the hair. It is responsible for hair's strength, elasticity, and color, contributing to about 90% of hair's weight. Medulla, also known as the hair's pith or core. Not all hair types have a medulla. Generally, coarse hair has a medulla while fine hair doesn't. Beard hair always contains a medulla. Check-in. Question 4. Name and describe the 3 layers of the hair shaft. Answer. The 3 layers of the hair shaft are cuticle, outermost layer. It is formed from cells that overlap, similar to shingles on a roof, protects the cortex. Cortex, fibrous protein layer that provides strength, elasticity, and color to hair. Medulla, also known as the hair's pith or core, generally found in coarse hair and beard hair. 5. What type of hair will always have a medulla? Answer. Beard hair. The major elements that make up human hair are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur, Kahn's elements. These 5 elements are also found in skin and nails. Carbon, 51% oxygen, 21% hydrogen, 6% nitrogen, 17% sulfur, 5%. Hair is composed primarily of a protein called keratin. Living cells that form the hair are found in the hair bulb. These cells go through a process called keratinization. Keratinization consists of the following steps. 1. Newly formed cells mature and fill up with a fibrous protein called keratin. 2. Cells move upward, lose their nucleus, and die. 3. Once the hair strand emerges from the scalp, the hair cells are dead and completely keratinized. Hair is approximately 90% protein. The remaining portion is a combination of water, lipids, and traces of minerals. Amino acids are the protein building blocks that comprise hair. Amino acids link together end to end with a strong chemical bond called a peptide bond, end bond. As amino acids are linked by peptide bonds, they form a long chain called a polypeptide chain. These chains exist in a spiral configuration called a helix. Refer to Figure 7.4. A. Cortex side bonds. The cortex is made up of millions of polypeptide chains, which are cross-linked like a ladder's rungs by 3 types of side bonds: hydrogen, salt, and disulfide bonds. These chains are responsible for hair's strength and elasticity. The side bonds account for about 1/3 of hair's overall strength. Hydrogen bond, a weak physical side bond. The attraction of opposite charges forms hydrogen bonds. They are easily broken by water or heat, such as during wet and thermal styling. When the hair dries or cools, the bonds reform. Allowing thermal curls to cool before styling will hold the style longer. Salt bond, also a weak physical side bond. Salt bonds, like hydrogen bonds, result from attracting opposite charges. Salt bonds are broken by changes in pH, so they are easily broken by strong alkaline or acidic solutions. Disulfide bond, a strong chemical side bond. There are fewer disulfide bonds than hydrogen or salt bonds, but disulfide bonds are much stronger. The disulfide bond joins the sulfur atoms of 2 neighboring cysteine amino acids within the polypeptide chains. Permanent waves and hair relaxers alter disulfide bonds. Misusing these chemicals can damage the disulfide bonds, which weakens the hair. Thiopermanent waves and thiorelaxers break disulfide bonds and reform the bonds with thioneutralizers. Hydroxide chemical hair relaxers break disulfide bonds and convert them to lanthionine bonds. The disulfide bonds converted to lanthionine bonds cannot be reformed. Natural hair color is the result of a pigment called melanin located within the cortex. Melanin forms from cells called melanocytes. There are 2 types of melanin. Eumelanin consists of brown and black pigment and is the predominant pigment in black and brunette hair. Pheomelanin is the yellow to red pigment in natural blonde and red shades of hair. Did you know? The term hair color, 2 words, refers to the hair's natural color. Hair color, 1 word, is the term used in the beauty industry to refer to artificial hair coloring products. Wave pattern. Hair's wave pattern refers to the amount of movement or shape of the hair strand. Wave patterns are classified as straight, wavy, curly, or coily. See Figure 7 Tier 5. Wave pattern is the one area of a hair analysis that doesn't look at the strength or condition of the hair, but it is an important component of hair cutting and hairstyling. Natural wave patterns are the result of genetics. The shape of the hair follicle determines the shape of the hair strand. Hair with a round cross-section is straight. Hair with an oval cross-section is wavy or curly. Hair with an elliptical-shaped cross-section is extremely curly. The flatter the hair follicle is, the curlier the hair will be. Wave pattern typically varies throughout the head. Wave patterns can change during an individual's lifetime. Hormones can affect the wave pattern. All wave patterns are possible, regardless of genetics. Curly hair tends to be drier than straight hair and is accompanied by a drier scalp. Due to the shape of the curled hair strand, the sebum produced by the body cannot reach the ends of the hair. Very curly hair is referred to as coily. It has an irregular shape and is more likely to break between the twists. Because the coils will often mesh together, moisturizing products and detangling solutions are recommended for this hair type. Check-in 6. List and describe the 3 types of side bonds. Explain how they are formed and broken, if they are chemical or physical, and if they are strong or weak? Answer. The three types of side bonds are hydrogen bond, a weak physical side bond formed by water or heat. Salt bond, a weak physical side bond broken by changes in pH such as strong alkaline or acidic solutions. Disulfide bond, a strong chemical side bond broken by permanent waves and hair relaxers. 7. Explain the keratinization process. Answer. Newly formed cells mature and fill up with keratin, move upward, lose their nucleus, and die. 8. What are polypeptide chains? Answer. Polypeptide chains are long chains of amino acids linked by peptide bonds. 9. Name and describe the two types of melanin responsible for natural hair color. Answer. Eumelanin consists of brown and black pigment and is the predominant pigment in black and brunette hair. Pheomelanin is the yellow to red pigment in natural blonde and red shades of hair. Hair analysis. Texture. Hair texture is the diameter of an individual hair strand. Hair texture is classified as fine, medium, or coarse. Refer to figures 7 to 6, 7 to 8, and 7 to 9. It is common for hair from different areas of the head to have different textures. Fine hair has the smallest diameter, medium hair has an average diameter, and coarse hair has the largest diameter. Visualize fine hair as thread and coarse hair as yarn. Fine hair characteristics include smallest diameter, fragile in comparison to medium and coarse hair, may process faster during chemical services, requires lower heat during thermal services, may feel limp or flat. Medium hair characteristics include most common hair texture, the standard to which other hair textures are compared, does not present problems or concerns in styling. Coarse hair characteristics include largest diameter, may be resistant to processing and require stronger chemicals than fine hair, requires higher temperatures during thermal services, may be harder to manage and can be dry and or frizzy in comparison to fine or medium hair. You need a single strand of hair to determine a client's hair texture. If you can barely see the hair, or if you run the hair between your thumb and index finger and can barely feel it, the hair is fine. If the hair strand looks larger or is textured and you can easily feel it, the hair is coarse. Medium hair texture falls between fine and coarse. Hair density measures the number of individual hair strands on 1 square inch, 2.5 square centimeters, of the scalp. Hair density can be classified as low, medium, or high, also known as thin, medium, or thick. To determine hair density, consider how much of the scalp is visible. If you can see the scalp, the density is thin. Some visible scalp is medium. No visible scalp is thick. An individual with thin hair has a lower number of hairs per square inch in comparison to a person with thick hair. Average hair density is approximately 2,200 hairs per square inch, with a total of about 100,000 hairs on the scalp. Density varies with natural hair color. Blondes usually have the highest density. Redheads tend to have the lowest density. Some individuals may have coarse hair texture but low hair density, while others may have fine hair texture with high hair density. Average number of hairs on head blonde, 140,000 hairs brown, 110,000 hairs black, 108,000 hairs red, 80,000 hairs. Average number of hairs on head blonde, 140,000 hairs brown, 110,000 hairs black, 108,000 hairs red, 80,000 hairs. Density varies with natural hair color. Blondes usually have the highest density. Redheads tend to have the lowest density. Some individuals may have coarse hair texture but low hair density, while others may have fine hair texture with high hair density. Hair porosity refers to hair's ability to absorb moisture. Porosity is determined by the cuticle layer's condition and the degree the scales of the cuticle are raised. Low porosity. Hair with low porosity, figure 7 to 9, has a very healthy cuticle where the scales lie flat. Chemical services performed on hair with low porosity require a more alkaline solution to raise the cuticle and permit uniform saturation and processing. Average porosity. Hair with average porosity, figure 7 to 10, may have raised cuticle areas, but the hair is still healthy. Chemical services performed on porous hair usually process as expected. High porosity. Hair with high porosity, figure 7-11, is often the result of previous overprocessing. Overly porous hair has a raised cuticle and is typically damaged, dry, fragile, and brittle. Chemical services performed on overly porous hair require less alkaline solutions with a lower pH, which helps prevent additional overprocessing and damage. Different degrees of porosity can be found in all hair textures, and an individual can have different degrees of porosity in different areas of the head. Check porosity on dry hair by taking a strand of several hairs from 4 different areas: front hairline, temple, crown, nape. Hold the strand securely with one hand while sliding the other hand's thumb and forefinger from the end to the scalp. If the hair feels smooth and the cuticle is compact, dense, and hard, it has low porosity. If you feel a slight roughness, it is porous. If the hair feels very rough, dry, or breaks, it is highly porous and may have been overprocessed. Hair elasticity is the hair's ability to stretch and return to its original length without breaking. Hair elasticity is a reflection of the strength of the side bonds in the cortex. Wet hair with average elasticity will stretch between 30 and 50% of its length and return to that same length without breaking. Dry hair stretches about 20% of its length. Hair with low elasticity may feel brittle and break easily, not be able to hold a curl from wet setting, thermal styling, or permanent waving. Be the result of weak side bonds that are caused by overprocessing or physical damage from thermal styling tools. Require a solution with a lower pH to minimize further damage and may not maintain a strong curl pattern when chemical services are performed. Test elasticity with wet hair. Check 4 areas of the head: front hairline, temple, crown, nape. To determine elasticity, 1. Place a strand of wet hair between the thumb and index finger mid-strand. Place the other hand's thumb and index finger near the end of the strand. 2. Hold the strand securely and try to stretch the hair. If the hair stretches and returns to its original length without breaking, it has average elasticity. If the hair breaks easily or fails to return to its original length, it has low elasticity. Hair growth patterns, hair stream. Hair flowing in the same direction is caused by follicles sloping in the same direction. A natural part is caused by 2 hair streams flowing in opposite directions. Whirl occurs when hair leaves the follicles at an angle. Hair grows in a circular pattern. Sometimes there is more than one whirl. Cowlick hair grows straight up or at a different angle than the other hair. Cowlicks are usually more noticeable at the crown, but they may be located anywhere on the head. Dry hair and scalp, inactive sebaceous glands, oil, can cause dry hair and scalp. Important things to remember about dry hair and scalp include excessive shampooing and changes in climate may aggravate these conditions. Lack of sebum may cause the hair to be dull, dry, and lifeless. Treat dry hair and scalp with products containing moisturizers and emollients. People with dry hair and scalp should avoid frequent shampooing, strong soaps, detergents, and high alcohol content products. Don't confuse dry hair with overly porous hair damaged by thermal styling, chemical services, or environmental conditions. Overactive sebaceous glands cause oily hair and scalp. Important things to remember about oily hair and scalp include: use a shampoo that helps return the scalp to its own natural pH. Avoid products that are too harsh, as they can trigger additional oil production. Thoroughly rinse hair after shampooing check-in questions. 10. What are the components of a hair analysis? Answer: the components of hair analysis are texture, density, porosity, elasticity, growth patterns, and dryness, oiliness of hair and scalp. 11. What causes dry scalp and oily scalp? What treatments would be beneficial for each? Answer: a dry scalp is caused by inactive sebaceous glands. Oily scalp is caused by overactive sebaceous glands. A dry scalp should be treated with products containing moisturizers and emollients. Oily scalp should avoid harsh products. Types of body hair. The 3 main types of body hair are lanugo, vellus, and terminal hair. Lanugo: short, fine hair that covers a fetus and generally sheds within a few weeks of birth. Vellus: short, fine, unpigmented body hair, often referred to as peach fuzz. Typically less than 1/3 inch long, approximately 1 centimeter, and can appear anywhere on the skin apart from the palms, soles, and lips. The follicles that produce vellus hairs do not have sebaceous glands. Vellus hair's primary function is to help with the evaporation of perspiration and body temperature regulation. Terminal hair. Long pigmented hair on the scalp and body. It is coarser than vellus hair, and except for gray hair, it is pigmented. It may have a medulla. All hair follicles are capable of producing either vellus or terminal hair, depending on genetics, age, hormones. Hair growth cycle, anagen phase. Hair grows in a continuous cycle that typically lasts 2 to 6 years. The cycle features 3 phases: anagen, catagen, and telogen. The anagen phase is the growth phase. New hair is produced. New cells are produced in the follicle more quickly than any other cell in the body. The average growth rate for healthy scalp hair is about 0.5 inch, 1.25 centimeters per month. Hair growth rate varies with age and gender. Scalp hair grows rapidly between the ages of 15 and 30, but slows down sharply after 50. About 90% of hair is in the anagen phase at any time. This phase lasts 2 to 6 years, but can last as long as 10 years. This is why some people's hair doesn't grow beyond a certain length, while others can grow extremely long hair. The catagen phase is the brief transition period between the hair follicle's growth and resting phases. The follicle canal shrinks and detaches from the dermal papilla. The hair bulb disappears, and the shrunken root end forms a rounded club. Less than 1% of scalp hair is in the catagen phase at any time. This phase lasts 1 to 2 weeks. Telogen phase. The telogen phase is the resting phase. It is the final hair cycle phase. The hair either sheds or remains in place until the next anagen phase, when the new hair growing in pushes it out. Shedding is a natural part of the hair's growth cycle. Common to lose 50 to 100 hairs per day. Less than 10% of scalp hair is in the telogen phase at any time. This phase lasts 3 to 6 months. Hair growth facts: 1. Average growth rate about 0.5 inches, 1.25 centimeters per month for healthy scalp hair. 2. Age factors. Growth rate varies with age, is rapid between 15-30, and slows after 50. 3. Individual variation. The length of the anagen phase determines the maximum hair length. Myth: shaving and cutting hair makes it grow back faster, darker, and coarser. Fact: shaving does not make hair grow back faster. Genetics determines hair growth rate. Shaved hair may feel coarse because the hair tips are bluntly cut. The appearance of darker hair is an optical illusion. Once the hair grows 0.2 to 0.8 inches, a centimeter or 2, away from the skin, it will be the same color it was before shaving. Myth: scalp massage increases hair growth. Fact: scalp massage can stimulate blood microcirculation, which provides nutrients to the hair follicle. However, it has not been scientifically proven that stimulation or scalp massage increases hair growth. Minoxidil and finasteride are the only scientifically proven treatments to help stop hair loss and possibly regrow hair. Both are approved by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA. Myth: gray hair is coarser and more resistant than pigmented hair. Fact: other than lack of pigment, gray hair is the same as pigmented hair. Importance of hair analysis. 1. Service planning helps determine the best approach for desired results while protecting hair health. 2. Product selection guides choice of appropriate products based on hair characteristics. 3. Treatment recommendations allows for personalized advice on hair care and treatments. 4. Damage prevention identifies potential risks before applying chemical or heat treatments. Key takeaways. 1. Understanding hair and scalp properties is crucial for providing safe and effective cosmetology services. 2. Hair structure, chemical composition, and growth cycles all play important roles in hair health and appearance. 3. Thorough hair and scalp analysis helps in customizing treatments and recommending appropriate products. 4. Distinguishing between hair myths and facts is important for providing accurate information to clients. Check-in questions. 12. Name and describe the 3 hair types and their locations. Answer: the 3 types of hair and their locations are: lanugo, hair is short, fine hair that covers a fetus. Vellus hair is short, fine, and unpigmented. It appears anywhere on the skin, apart from palms, soles, and lips. Terminal hair is the long, pigmented hair on the scalp and body. It is coarser than vellus hair and, with the exception of gray hair, it is pigmented. 13. What are the 3 hair growth cycle phases? What occurs during each phase? Answer. The phases of hair growth and what occurs during each phase are: anagen is the growth phase, new hair is produced. Catagen is the brief transition period between the hair follicle's growth and resting phases. Telogen is the resting phase, the final phase in the hair cycle, lasts until the fully grown hair is shed. Continuing education. As a cosmetologist, it's important to stay updated on the latest research and techniques in hair and scalp care. Consider attending workshops and seminars or pursuing advanced certifications to enhance your knowledge and skills in trichology and hair analysis.